Hi folks, I'm sorry about the shaky hands at the moment. That'll become apparent. I'm looking at a very long distance, and I'll come back and explain what that is. Now, if you saw an earlier video I made which showed a rifle target, I think it is walking with difference number 4, then I've got an update on that. I met a nice lady on one of the walks and she gave me an update on that story. So that was the target in the distance, and now I'm standing where they used to fire from this building. As you can see, it's an old brick structure with an old wooden door. It's locked up so we can't see inside, but this was just where they used to fire from. So who's they? Well, if you watched my first video, you perhaps know that story, and if not, just to bring in the picture, in the 1880s the British Army were looking to move to repeating rifles from the single shot Martini Henry. It's a bit of a wind today, so I hope you're picking this up. And the local owner of the nearby Wistow Hall in Leicestershire England, Sir Henry, was key in part of the development of that, working with Metford, Farrell, and Lee, the American inventor who developed the bolt action and the box magazine, to develop the Lee Metford, which was the first repeating rifle adopted by the British Army. Now that was for powder. So I think particularly the rifling developed so that, you know, a soldier could clean that out, because black powder tends to foul the barrels or the mechanism. Now they were firing at 1,000, 1,500 and 2,000 yards, and I guess that target I'm looking at must be that distance away. Interestingly, you know, there's a road there, and we're talking about the 1880s. The road still would have been there, but obviously not the traffic. But they must have had to stop any horse-drawn traffic on the days they were firing, unless you sat there on your horse with a 303 bullet whizzing by your nose. And when Sir Henry died, he basically bequeathed Wistow Hall to his friend T.F. Fremantle, who became Lord Cottesloe, and he carried on the development. Now what they found was that when the cordite powder came into use, they found that the rifling couldn't take the stronger propellant, and it was wearing the barrels out. So that's when they developed a new barrel in conjunction with the Enfield factory, which was the British Arms manufacturing unit, and they developed the Lee Enfield, the famous Lee Enfield, which served Britain, you know, right through the two world wars, right up to the mid sort of 50s, when it was replaced by the SLR, self-loading rifle, an adaptation from Fabrique Nationale, Belgium. And I think Fremantle also was developing, after Sir Henry died, a machine gun bullet 303 for the machine guns, heavy machine guns at the time, which would have been in the first case the Maxim gun, and then of course replaced by the Vickers, which again served the British Army well through a long period of time. So a lot of that development was done here. Now what's special, apparently, which I didn't know on my first video about the target, and we'll go back to have another look at it, is it's called a ringing target, and apparently it's the only one in the country. So when a bullet hit it, it would give a ring, so they would know. And it still rings today, apparently, if you throw a stone at it. So we'll go and try that in a minute and find out. Probably going to pour down with rain in a minute, so I might have to cut this short. So that's interesting, this ringing target, and we're at the actual point where they did the firing from in this brick building we've just been. Again, people pass this every day, and I probably passed it, no idea what this was for. But that's what it was for, setting up the rifles to shoot, and she also mentioned to me that they were testing the first telescopic sights, which is perhaps true because it's a fair old distance from here to that target. I'm sure you can probably hardly see it now on the camera, it's so far in the distance. It's just beyond the sheep that are in the field over there. So there we are, just an quick update for you on my other video, which also walks around Wistow, tells a lot more about Wistow a bit, so I won't go into all that now because it's really just to update about the specific rifle target. So what we'll do now, we'll walk over there, have another look at it if you haven't seen it, if this is the first time looking at the videos, and let's see if it does ring if you throw a stone at it. Okay, bye for now. Okay, so we're now at the target end, the rifle target end. If you've watched my original video, you will have seen this before, and if not, that's what it looks like. Now, can I or can't I? Yes, did you hear that? That was the ringing target when the stone hit that. Actually, that's about my fourth attempt. It's a good job I wasn't with Sir Henry at the time. So that's the ringing target. As you can see, it's well pitted with bullet marks all the way around it. Now, this wasn't what I was putting in the view on this video earlier when we did a long range shot, because this is completely covered here by foliage and trees. So what was that? Well, we'll go and have a look. I think I've found out what that was, which will give you an idea of the distance. I'm not sure we can actually see the brick building from where we're going. We'll have a look. Let's take my pack with me. So there they are, the ringing target linked to the development of the Lee Metford and then subsequently the Lee Enfield rifles and machine gun bullets by the men who were based in the local Wistow Hall. And according to the lady I met, that is the only ringing target in the country. So I'll just come down here. So Lee Metford, one of the developments with that was it had what's called a cut-off. So it had the box magazine developed by Lee, but they put in a cut-off so that the rifleman could load single bullets and fire them as a single round gun, and then when required as the emergency developed, he could then flick a switch and open the whole magazine. So why would they need that? Well, remember, these are the days of the colonial wars. British Army had a disaster against the Zulus at Isandlwana with the Martini Henrys, which was single shot. So perhaps they thought, as they moved into repeating rifles, it would be a good feature to keep that. Also, of course, you're preserving ammunition, aren't you? You're not blasting away with your heart's content with the magazine. You're keeping a disciplined shot. They then, I believe, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, they then did away with that on the Lee Enfield. I'm sure if they did away with the first, what was called the long Lee Enfield, and then they had a carbine version. They certainly did away with it on the SMLE Lee Enfield. There it is. So, sure if I can see it here. Can I get it in focus? To the right of those trees in the distance. So there it is, that's the brick building was at earlier, so it's very steady at this rate, at that focus. I'm trying to hold the camera. And basically what I was filming from there wasn't the target, but it was probably that building, I think, which looked similar to my memory of what the target looked like. So it's that old shack, because that's out in the open, and then there's a clear line of sight to that, back to that brick. But so the target, as you can see, is the same sort of distance, even a little bit further as we've walked down here. So wind's dropped now, so hopefully you might be able to hear me better. Was a bit more sheltered. So there we go. That's just an update. Hope you found that of interest, particularly if you're interested in British military history, rifle shooting, or anything of that nature. And what makes this, I'm told, unique is it is that ringing target, so they could hear when a bullet's hit it. And I was told it is the only one in the UK. And again, if anybody else knows different to that, then let us know in the comments. Okay folks, but again, people walk by this target and people drive or walk past that brick building, of course having no idea of the significance of that. And that's true, isn't it? We can go anywhere pretty well in the world perhaps, and we just don't know what that local history might be. So I need to now carry on with my walk, and it's a nice brisk day today, but the wind's dropped now. So one last look. There we are, the ringing target development of the Lee Metford, and then the Lee Enfield British Army rifles. Take care.